In late 2024, Peter Thiel gave a series of private lectures in San Francisco. The topic wasn't tech, it was theology, specifically the Antichrist. The billionaire co-founder of one of the most powerful surveillance companies on Earth stood in front of audiences and warned them about the biblical figure who would bring about the end of the world. Thiel quoted a passage from the Bible, "When they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them." He described the Antichrist as a deceiver who promises safety, control, and builds a system so complete that no one can escape it. Here's what makes this strange. Peter Thiel's company, Palantir, builds exactly that. Software that tracks people across databases, a tool used by the CIA, the NSA, the Pentagon, and ICE. Thiel warns that total surveillance is the devil's architecture. The irony is, he's the architect.
There still exists a general
In 1999, Peter Thiel co-founded PayPal. Within months, the company was losing millions to organized fraud networks in Russia and Eastern Europe. They were draining accounts faster than PayPal could detect. The company faced existential collapse. To combat this, the engineers built a tool named Igor, a system that scanned millions of transactions, mapped connections between accounts, and spotted fraud patterns no human analyst could see. It worked. PayPal survived, and Thiel learned the lesson that would define his career. It wasn't long before this technology caught the attention of Washington. In the wake of 9/11, intelligence agencies were looking for exactly this kind of capability. In 2004, Thiel founded Palantir with $2 million from the CIA's venture capital arm, In-Q-Tel. The software was deployed to Afghanistan, where it helped analysts map insurgent networks, track weapons shipments, and identify bomb makers. According to reports, Palantir's software helped trace the courier network that led U.S. forces to Osama bin Laden's secret compound in Abbottabad. They had proven the software could map a war zone. But Palantir's ambitions were bigger than just hunting terrorists. They wanted to map everything. To understand what Palantir actually does, you need to understand one concept: the ontology. An ontology is a map of relationships, not a database. It doesn't just store information, it models how things connect. Say you're tracking a terrorist cell in Afghanistan. Traditional intelligence gives you fragments, a phone number here, a vehicle registration there. Analysts spend weeks trying to piece them together. Palantir's software ingests all of it at once and builds a live network of the relationships. Suddenly, the phone number isn't just a number. It's tied to a man who bought fertilizer from a vendor who shares a cousin with a known bomb maker who was photographed near a checkpoint where 3 soldiers were killed. The military called this connecting the dots. But here's the thing about a machine that connects dots. It doesn't care which dots you feed it. The technology is the same, only the target changes. In January 2025, Trump created DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, and put Elon Musk in charge. The goal was supposedly to cut waste and streamline the bureaucracy. But within weeks, that effort turned into something else. DOGE staffers began fusing federal databases that were designed by law to never speak to each other. Your medical history, your employment records, your social security file. For decades, these lived in separate systems, firewalls Congress built after Watergate when Nixon used the IRS to target political enemies. The Privacy Act of 1974 was passed for this specific reason, to make it illegal for the government to pool all your data into one place. DOGE was effectively handed the keys to the entire federal archive, and according to Wired and CNN, they're linking them together using Palantir's Foundry platform. It's a merger of personnel and power. Palantir alumni are running operations at DOGE. IRS engineers are training at Palantir headquarters. The objective is simple: to build a single search bar for your private data that works across every agency at once. Connecticut's Attorney General called it the largest data breach in American history, but it wasn't a breach. It was authorized. Palantir denied building a master database, but they didn't deny linking the systems, and that distinction is meaningless. Your location history, protests you've attended, your text messages, feed them into the machine, and they stop being just data. They become you, a complete digital profile that can be tracked, ranked, and weaponized in real time. In April 2025, ICE awarded Palantir a $30 million contract to build something called ImmigrationOS. ImmigrationOS does three things. It identifies who should get deported first, ranking people by how removable they are. It tracks whether people are leaving voluntarily in near real time, and it streamlines the entire process from identification to removal. The contract documents cite Trump's executive order titled Protecting the American People Against Invasion. ImmigrationOS acts as a digital dragnet. It scrapes passport records, utility bills, and social media activity to identify targets in real time. And when it came time to pay for it, the government bypassed the standard bidding process entirely. ICE claimed Palantir was the only company on Earth capable of the job. The result? They simply awarded the contract to Peter Thiel with zero oversight. Civil liberties groups warn that a system like this isn't limited to undocumented people. It casts a wide net that traps visa holders, green card applicants, and even American citizens. The machine doesn't care about your rights. It cares about your data. And once that machine is turned on, history tells us it never gets turned off. Since the deportation orders were signed, Palantir's stock has surged 80%. It's the best performing asset in the S&P 500. The market has priced in the new reality. The surveillance state is officially open for business. But the most dangerous part of this system isn't that it finds people who have broken the law. It's that it finds people who might. For years, Palantir secretly tested this technology in American cities. In New Orleans, they ran a predictive policing program so covert that even the city council didn't know it existed for 6 years. It was hidden under a philanthropic deal to bypass public oversight. The software analyzed social media posts, records of police stops, and family trees to generate a list of citizens likely to be involved in violence. You didn't have to commit a crime to get on the list. You just had to know the wrong people. In Los Angeles, they called it Operation Laser. Palantir's software generated what they called chronic offender bulletins. These were essentially digital wanted posters. To get on the list, the algorithm assigned you a score based on a point system. This created a feedback loop. The algorithm told police to patrol a neighborhood. The police stopped people. Those people got points just for being stopped, and the algorithm then labeled them high risk. And innocent people became victims. The Inspector General found that the system flagged regular citizens just for their daily routine. One man was flagged as a chronic offender simply because he lived in a laser zone and had a tattoo that the algorithm didn't like. He wasn't committing crimes. He was just living in a neighborhood the computer decided was dangerous. But because he was on the list, he was stopped, questioned, and harassed by police over and over again. Critics called it a digital stop and frisk. The backlash was so severe that the LAPD was forced to shut it down in 2019. Under the new efficiency mandate, this logic is being revived. Only this time, it isn't limited to a single city. The algorithm decides you're a threat before you've even made a move. Software alone can't guarantee this kind of control. To make the system permanent, you need the executive branch. That's why Peter Thiel didn't just fund J.D. Vance's career. He created it. They met at Yale Law in 2011 when Vance attended a talk Thiel gave about technological stagnation. Vance later called it the most significant moment of his time at Yale. Thiel didn't just mentor him. He hired him, funded his startup, and introduced him to Trump at Mar-a-Lago. And when Vance ran for Senate in 2022, Thiel donated $15 million to his campaign, the single largest amount ever given to a Senate candidate. Vance won. 2 years later, he's a heartbeat from the presidency. And he isn't the only Palantir asset in the West Wing. The Federal Chief Information Officer is Gregory Barbaccia. He's a former Palantir executive who spent 10 years inside the company. And Stephen Miller, the architect of the mass deportation policy, personally owns $250,000 in shares. The line between the administration and the company has been erased. This is the new reality of the American government. We've handed the keys to our border, our military, and our private data to a single private entity, one that's financially incentivized to find new enemies. To the average citizen, this looks like a dystopia, but to Peter Thiel, it looks like salvation. He believes this level of control is the only thing keeping society from tearing itself apart. And that belief isn't technical, it's theological. To understand his worldview, you have to understand a French philosopher named René Girard. Girard taught at Stanford for decades, and Thiel studied under him. His philosophy was built on the concept of mimetic desire. We want what others want. This creates rivalry, and rivalry creates violence. Left unchecked, mimetic violence spirals until it consumes everything. Thiel took this seriously. He's spoken about it for years, the idea that civilization is more fragile than we think, that we're always on the edge of apocalyptic violence, and he believes technology is the solution. In his 2024 lectures, Thiel introduced a theological concept, the Katechon. It comes from the New Testament, a mysterious force that restrains the Antichrist, holding back chaos until the appointed time. He believes the modern world needs a Katechon, a restrainer, something that can see threats before they materialize. That's what he thinks Palantir is. Not a surveillance company, a civilizational safeguard that holds back the apocalypse. Thiel spent years warning that the Antichrist wouldn't arrive as a monster. He said it would look like a technological savior, a system that promised to organize the chaos. He was right. The trap he warned us about is finally here. He just forgot to mention that he was the one setting it.